Greetings, YouTube. This is Fragments of Memory, aka the Armchair Philosopher. I want to talk about Deelishus, the Flavor of Love reality TV show star of Flavor of Love fame. Excuse me. Um, I recently saw the vids of both Dan Freeman, aka the Avenue Rants, and G-Man Live Forever on It, or G-Man Forever on It Live. I'm not sure if I'm getting that right. The sequence always throws me off just a little bit. But anyway, they sort of weighed in on the whole worldstarhiphop.com video where Deelishus relates a story where she was allegedly raped at the age of 18. Both men, of course, have very strong opinions, and I suggest you watch their videos because they do make good videos and good points, whether you agree fully with them or disagree with them in some respects. But they do make good vids. Anyway, upon watching the vids of both Avenue Rants and G-Man, they were responding to this Deelishus vid. Now, here's the rundown, and I'm sure you've probably heard of this ad nauseum. Basically, there was a guy that drove around her high school, and she liked him, and he was either in his early mid 20s. I've heard different accounts of the story. Well, anyway, one night she sneaks over to his house, and of course it's in the late night hours, or as a friend of mine has referred to it, booty call hours. And anyway, during these hours, she sneaks to his home. They get together. There's alcohol consumption going on. He's playing the slow, soft sounds of Jodeci, and if you remember, like me, because I grew up in the 1990s, I was a teenager in the 1990s, preteen, teenage years, and Jodeci was a big name in the R&B scene. And of course, you play a Jodeci song, that meant you either in a romantic situation with a young lady, or you were about to get into a romantic situation with a young lady, because Jodeci was said to get the ladies in the move. Same thing with R. Kelly, Boys to Men, etc., etc. Anyway, he's playing the Jodeci and he's giving her alcohol, which is lowering her inhibitions. And they start kissing, they start making out, and of course, according to the account, this act got as far as him performing cunnilingus on her. Now, at this point, he wanted to take it a step further by sealing the deal, aka having intercourse. She said no. He took it anyway. Now, during the time that she's relating all of this, Deelishus's husband is saying, "Hey, you shouldn't have put yourself in that situation. Some of that is on you." Now, I've even heard that there's been some backlash from some of the female YouTubers. Now, let me begin my little 2 cents by saying, number one, any man who feels he has to rape a woman is a horrible individual. He needs to catch the serious beatdown of his life. However, and even in this situation, I think that that man was wrong in the fact that he took it without her consent. However, I do have to sort of co-sign with G-Man and Avenue Rants in that she did put herself in a position where she snuck to the man's house late at night. They got as far as oral sex, which is a sexual act. As you've seen some of my videos in the past, I've said oral sex is just as much sex as intercourse. Um, so she was in that position, and they were drinking alcohol, which lowers inhibitions, and here she is dealing with this guy. Now, I would have to also agree with them that she does try to come off as this naive, innocent victim of circumstance. And in reality, she's not. She's not innocent. I mean, some of the things that she said she was attracted to this guy, or what attracted her to this guy, wasn't his personality, wasn't his quote unquote swagger, I guess. I'm not a fan of that word, but you get the gist. It was the fact that he drove a nice car, that he looked like he had nice clothing on, that he looked like he had a little money in his pocket. And that seemed to just sort of make her want to be around him. And most likely, probably to exchange her flesh for his resources, and on and on and on. And I mean, that is a reality. There, just as there are sex hungry men, there are money hungry women. So I don't think that she was 100% innocent in this situation. Do I believe that she should have gotten raped? I think it was unfortunate that she got raped, but I have to acknowledge that she put herself in a position where it got as far as oral sex. It got as far as the removal of clothing. It got as far as, and yes, male sexuality in this day and age seems to be maligned. It seems to be either belittled or maligned entirely, and I disagree with that because the Creator gave us sexual urges and impulses and desires. Now, yes, I think we as men should attempt to show restraint. I think women should show restraint and have chastity and good virtues. But once you're in a situation where alcohol is involved, that naturally lowers the inhibitions. And I want to cite the movie Tintin. It was a good movie. I liked it. Anyway, there's a scene where the protagonist Tintin wants to give up after the villain has escaped. And the man that has been going on this adventure with Tintin, his name is Captain Haddock. And Captain Haddock basically says to Tintin at one point, you whatever signal you put out there, that's what people are going to pick up on. And back to this situation with Deelishus, she's out there trying to attach herself to this man and giving him the promise of sexual encounters and sexual gratification. And yet she then wants to say, oh, I was raped. And unfortunately, with rape, the onus of proof, the burden of proof, I should say, lies with men. So I, as a man, if I'm accused of rape, I have to damn near move heaven and earth in order to prove my innocence. Let's just say it was a girl that was vindictive. Let's say I had no malicious intent. I did not forcibly have sex with this woman. But let's say there was some malice on her part. And of course, let's say we fall out, we have a falling out, and then she decides, oh, fragments of memory raped me. So now I, fragments of memory, have to go and prove my own innocence. And I think that in some ways the legal system does favor the woman more so than the man. So I would say to women, be careful what situations you put yourself into. If I ever am blessed with children and I have a daughter, I'm going to tell my daughter, be careful what situations you put yourself into. Because even my mother told me that. My mother once said to me, just be careful what situations you put yourself into. Let's say I ride with a guy in a stolen car. And then the police come. The police are arresting everybody. They're not just going to arrest one person. They're going to arrest everybody. Matter of fact, you there should be some discretion and judgment as to who you associate yourself with anyway. Now, was she a young girl? Yes. But I do want to point out that 18 in many states in the United States is a legal age of consent. So I don't want people to make the man who had sex with her this sort of pedophile creep. She was of consenting age. So I just want to throw my little 2 cents in it just to kind of say, hey, I think that women in general just need to be careful with whom they associate with and whom they ultimately allow access to them. Take care.